Hello, friends, and welcome to the Monday Show, number 11. I am your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend, Ruuts. Ruuts, how's it going, brother?
Good, good. Just enjoying my Monday, the nice peaceful airplane, it's fun.
Yeah, the planes, they don't
Hmm.
stop here. They go forever, and you could literally sit here and wait for an hour for it to pass over, and
not
it's just not going to do it.
not
It's just going to
happening.
hang out. So, the Monday show plus airplanes today, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, sorry about that. Uh, anyway, let's talk a little VR here. It's why we're all here. We're here to talk about VR. They're here to hear us talk about VR. But there's certain things about VR that we all just kind of accept now. Things we don't talk about anymore like we used to. Things that we all love about VR. For example, uh, we don't ever really talk anymore about the fact that uh, since VR, uh, now graphics aren't don't play such a big role into the quality of a game. Used to, the only way that you could increase the immersiveness in games is by having photo realistic graphics. But now all of us that have been in VR for years, we all kind of know and accept that you don't have to have great looking graphics to be immersed in a game, and it's all because of the power of VR. Another thing that we don't talk about is the way that VR has basically made your the genre of the game irrelevant. You had genres that you liked, genres that you don't like, and ever since we came into VR, we all know now. We don't talk about it anymore, but we all kind of accept that it doesn't really matter what genre a game is. We still might enjoy it because VR has changed the game and made genres that used to be not fun interesting, because there's always something cool, or most of the time when you're going into VR, there's something cool about the experience, whether you enjoy the gameplay or not. So what am I getting at here? Well, what I'm trying to do here is get into uh, the games that we played this week. It's just I feel like they're shining examples of what VR does from a development standpoint. And what I mean is, it kind of takes the shackles off of developers and allows them to think outside the box, to come up with ideas that wouldn't have worked on a flat screen, either because the graphics maybe not the most photorealistic looking thing in the world, or the concept just wouldn't work on a flat screen. But now, since we have this wonderful new technology, the developers can think outside the box and come up with these new concepts that we would have never seen before. And that leads me into our first game, Holoception. I can't think of a better example of recent releases, at least, of thinking outside the box from a developer standpoint. There's a lot of things to like about this game, but I really didn't enjoy anything about it more than I enjoyed how different it was. This is a game unlike any other, and I don't think we would have gotten a game that plays like this before VR. Roots, am I barking up the wrong tree here, or am I making some kind of sense to you?
No, it makes a lot of sense actually. I mean, they've got games that are similar in a sense as far as like My Friend Pedro or shooters. I could see this game being okay on a flat game, but the mechanics of actually swinging and you're the guy and he's mimicking you, and the fact that you can zoom in and become the guy, or you can zoom out and get him from a distance, or you can get really close to where you can still see him. Um, it changes everything. It makes everything just a completely different experience. This game, I see. I never understood. I guess I never had the actual grenade there, but I never really tried the grenade. This game shines, like you said, the fact that you can do all those different things, but actually mimic and be that puppet guy is just unique in VR.
Yeah, it's kind of it's hard to get used to when you're playing it at first. Just because it's so different. You know, you're playing this game and you can switch between third person and first person, and you can go in and out seamlessly while you're playing. And for those of you that don't know, this is a wave-based game, a wave-based combat game that uses both melee tactics as well as gunplay. And there's lots of different weapons that you can use, lots of different ways to kill your enemies. Uh, some of the enemies are very easy to kill. A lot of them are more difficult. They gang up on you, and that's when it really starts to get hairy. And there are uh, progression systems, basically based upon collecting things that you get from the enemies that you kill. Um, but it's a unique concept, basically in the way that you're switching between perspectives, and even when you're in third person mode, you're still using 6 DOV controls with the third person guy. So you're looking at the little guy on the screen, that's you. But like Ruuts said, if a guy bum rushes him and you want to hit him, you literally swing your arm to hit him. And uh, it's still a little rough around the edges. At least it was for me from that perspective. With the third person melee was probably the most uncomfortable part of the game, but still, I had a deep appreciation for the fact that this is so different than anything that I've played before. Ruuts, did you find yourself in first person mode or in third person mode more?
I switched a lot actually. So I started out like you said. I didn't really understand exactly what the hell was going on at first. I went in the actual game and was trying to grab them and throw them around a lot, trying to, really at the beginning, I think it said something about throwing them down the stairs. And so that I kept trying to grab them and throw them down the stairs. And I was doing good. I actually got to like level 2 or 3 a couple times. They would drop these things and I would pick them up and I didn't know what the fuck am I supposed to do with this thing. And every once in a while a portal would pop up and I thought, okay, I've got to pick up a bat and then take it back with me. And then I got back and I'm like, no, that doesn't work. That didn't do shit for me for the next round. And so essentially you get the mods, right? You get these mods, they drop. Like the first one I think that starts dropping is for the gun. And so you got to grab 3 of them. So I drop you, and you can only have 3 slots on your chest. So it really is go into these waves and collect what you can and go back and build the arsenal, And so once you get those 3 mods, now you can buy the gun, and you can buy a gun and then you have to buy another gun. Well, each round you don't start with money. So you have to go back in and you have to earn the money for the guns and come back and buy it. Well, they graciously at least give you the baseball bat for free. So you can go every round, you can start with that bat. And once I realized how to do that, and started whacking the suckers, man, then I would get another bat, and then I started stealing guns, and then I unlocked the guns with the mods. And then I started getting the mods to unlocked the crowbar, and I've almost unlocked the grenades and something else, and I think I got to level 7, and now I've got people with guns coming at me. I've got it's getting increasingly harder. The first 4 or 5 rounds are actually pretty easy. They just keep coming. You start getting people with bats, and when you've got a bat, man, you can smack the hell out of people. I thought the melee was a lot better. I just don't think they need to fix the grabbing enemies or grabbing things. I know they fixed it a little bit, still a little rough around the edges of grabbing stuff, but it really was rewarding once I started figuring out how to take those mods and come back in. And I skipped this part. There's an analyzer, a pedestal. You come back and you put those, it's called analyzer pedestal, and it'll come up and you put it on there, and then it unlocks it. Once you unlock it on the board, you can buy it. And none of this is explained in the tutorial that I saw. Maybe I just skipped it. It kind of alludes to it, and it shows you that you can buy stuff, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So it took quite a while to figure out, but I think this game is way better than I thought. And after all that said, let me answer your question about the third person, first person. Um, I found once I got the gun, I really needed to go into first person a lot more to be able to shoot. It's a lot harder with even with the lasers on there to really line up, especially with the guns. I found that I'd be shooting some of the guys with the guns in the face and somehow I'm missing. But if I zoomed in, I could really accurately get them. And so I ended up going back and forth. And this is key when you're doing that. You really have to use that reset on the trigger, or not the pushing it on the joystick, or else it gets all wonky. So you're doing that a lot. But other than that, I really enjoyed this. And so it's one of those things that it gives you a reason to go back in, and it's quite addictive, actually.
Yeah, it's one of those games that that takes practice, and therefore it gets funner as you go. So at first you're not very good at it. It's really hard to do anything the way that you want. So it's really kind of frustrating. But as time goes on and you'll start learning how to play the game, it starts to get funner and funner and funner, and then eventually you're having a great time and you don't want to quit. Um, my experience was a little bit different than yours with the perspective changes. Uh, Again, that's the whole hook of the game. That's the thing that makes the gameplay so unique, is how seamless it is to switch in and out of first person, third person. You literally use your joystick, your right thumbstick, to push your point of view into the character and pull it back out again. It's really cool, but I found it nearly impossible to fight melee from the third person view. Whenever I had something in my hand like the bat, I really was only effective with it if I was in, first person mode. Now, if I had a gun, due to the aim assist, the laser
Opposite
sighting,
of me.
I could pull out into third person and shoot pretty well. But that was really my biggest criticism with this game, is I want to play in third person more, but it was just too difficult. It was too difficult to fight, especially with the melee stuff. I feel like it would be you should have the option of like actual gamepad control style when you're in third person. So if you're in first person, you use your 6DOV, manual controls. But as soon as you zoom out of the body, now you have the option of just hitting a button to swing and hitting a button to fire. I feel like that would be a little bit smoother, a little easier to play. But again, I just think it should be an option. I don't think it should be
Could be
intentional.
could be a learning curve, too. Like I played quite a bit of it, and I know I got pretty good at using that bat, and I was running around whacking them. I'm like wacky, I was smacking these suckers on the head, dude, and I was one shotting. I mean, I don't want to toot my horn of how good I am at Holoception, but I was one shot in these low levels like there's
Oh
nobody's
yeah.
business. You smack their head. I don't know. It was very satisfying for me. I never got the sword though. I need to get the sword and chop somebody's head off like that. I need to do it really bad. No, I just think I think the devs are doing a really good job with this game. And I like I said, I just if you can make it a little bit easier to grab people, and then like you said, maybe make it more easier. I don't know, maybe put that mode in there. Maybe there are people that would prefer it that way. I really enjoy the fact, even from a distance, it makes it difficult because you're trying to control something from a distance that you know what I mean? It's weird. It's a
Yeah.
different mechanic.
It's hard to explain without being in it, and that's the beauty of it. That's what I was alluding to at the top. It's so different than anything else, and I do want to reiterate that these are my first impressions. I've only had one play session in this. I played it for about I don't know, 75, 90 minutes, something like that. Not nearly as much as Ruuts has, so I may would need to play it more and get better at it. Uh, but you're right with the one shot kills with the ball bat. That felt great. And I was pulling it off quite a bit, but it was always in first person mode.
Mm.
It was never in third person. It seemed like in third person, I was just kind of beating somebody's body to death on the ground, where in first person, I was literally beheading these dudes with a ball bat. And it was a lot of fun. When it came time to stop, I didn't want to stop. And uh, definitely something I'm looking forward to getting back into. And just a big kudos to the developers on this game again for thinking outside the box, doing something different in VR. And it's just one of the many, many things I love about VR is it allows the developers to have this kind of freedom to put together these new concepts for games. And I can't wait to see what's coming next for this game.
Yeah, it's funny. I had saw some comments in the Discord, our Discord, and they were saying, the game looks cool, but I'm waiting for more reviews. I'm not sure, and I, of course, I've played quite a bit of it, and I was thinking, no, man, you need to pick this game up because, it is as cool as it looks, and it has everything with the scale and just everything. I just love this. This is very fun, and it's got a lot of replayability. So.
Yeah, but again, we need to reiterate here there is a pretty steep learning curve. It takes a while to get good at it. It takes a while to get kind of good at it. For me, anyway, I sucked at this game at first, and it wasn't very fun. It felt broken. It literally felt broken. I was like, man, what is this? It doesn't even play right. But I started the game over, and I went through the calibration a second time, and my movements matched up a lot better after the second time that I did it. And then I got better at playing the game and more experience. And it does get really fun. You do start to open up with your abilities as you gain experience. But that first initial bit of the game, it could be quite frustrating and feel like an incomplete game. But just hang in there. It does get better, and it's a load of fun.
Yeah.
Uh, $20. I've only played it for an hour and a half. I enjoyed it so far. I don't feel like I've played it enough to really judge whether or not it warrants the price tag. You've got a lot more time in it, Ruuts. What do you think about the price tag on it?
I think it's worth it. I mean, it's hard because it's half of Asgard's Wrath, but I think replayability and just enjoyment, as much fun as I'm having, I think it's worth $20.
Okay, cool. I'll take your word for it. It is really cool. It's very different again, and a game that I'm definitely going to put more time into. It's just fun. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those games that's just fun to play. It's wave based, sure, but wave based is only bad when it's a cookie cutter game that's like all the other ones. This is a wave based game that's totally different from anything else that I've played, and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, and it gives you reasons to go back in. You're unlocking stuff. You're getting new weapons. You're getting to, and like I said, this is a Mamefan special. This is exactly what I was thinking when I was playing. I was like, man, this is one of those things that you add a leaderboard to this, and I guarantee it's difficult, man. You get to level 7 is I use that as an example because that's as far as I could get. One of the aspects of this game is you're running around all these time trying not to, you get low on life and you're trying to grab the grilled cheese sandwich that's laying there, or maybe there's not any food and you're trying to get more ammo and more guys are spawning and you're just trying to stay alive. You're waiting for that one more mod before you go back, or maybe you're waiting for that portal to come back because you've got your mods and you don't want to die and lose them. I mean, it's got a different more to it than it just seems. And it initially it seems like, okay, this is just a wave shooter or wave thing, but even if everybody's going to play this game different. You see this person, man, they're swinging people around, they're slicing people's heads off. You can have several different, you can grab like all sorts of weapons, deck yourself out. You can be using a bat, a sword, or grabbing different types of machine guns, all in the same level. It's just crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Let me ask you this: those portals that take you out of the level and back into your little hub, the main screen, your preparation area. Um, is that completely random when those portals pop up? Because it was really frustrating to me a couple of times. I was trying to get out of a level and I'd run toward the portal and then it would disappear and then it would seem like it was forever before that thing would come back.
I think it's on a timer, but I'm not exactly sure. It gives you enough time to where, like I said, you're essentially gathering, you're killing stuff, you're leveling, and every time you go in it, you start over. You come back out, you're on level 0 again. And so it gives you that feeling of, I want to get out of here because I got 2 mods that I need and I'm almost dead, but fuck, I want to grab a third one, and what's going to drop? Maybe it's a really good weapon that I need. I still haven't seen shotguns, anything. I've seen I got the crowbar and I've got my 2 guns, and I think I've got a couple of I got some other thing that gave me a permanent melee upgrade, or I don't know, and that was something. So it's a different game. But yeah, no, playing so many games, I'm getting mixed up. I'm combined with the time. But no, it's so there's so many aspects to it. I thought this game was very shallow in the beginning, and I think it was a combination of me not really knowing exactly what was going on, and that was one of the reasons why I was excited to talk about it, because I think there's not many people explaining what's going on or explaining what this game really is. I was telling you, when I was looking for footage, it was all the same tutorial. I don't even know how far anybody's gotten in this game. I didn't even know a lot of what was the actual aspects of it. But now I'm psyched to go back in. I want to get some automatic weapons. I want to get this Gatling gun and tear through this. And one thing I will add, it's not just a shoot-a-thon that, you only have, like, at least with the pistols, you got 24 bullets in each one. And then when you run out, and the bullets will spawn on the ground, but so you're running around looking for bullets as well. And at least for me, I'm running around in third person a lot, and I'm trying to shoot, and I'm wasting a lot of bullets because it's hard running around shooting with a third person little guy that's mimicking what you're doing. I mean, it's I can imagine when you do get good at this, it's going to feel fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're going to be throwing people around, slinging them, slicing people's heads off. That's why I'm excited to see if Mamefan gets really good at it and gets at it, because he's going to tear this up.
Yeah, and there's constant bullet time in here as well. You have a meter that fills up pretty quickly, and all you have to do is press a button and it puts everything into slow motion so that you can really get precise with your attacks. And that's a feature that I didn't use enough, probably because I'm new at it, and like you said, I need more experience in the game. But there's a lot of different things that you can do here, a lot of different ways. If you enjoy senseless violence and creative destruction, you're going to enjoy this game. All you got to do is put in a little time and practice, but it's worth the reward. The time that you put in, the rewards you get out of it are well worth it.
Yeah, especially when you unlock that Uzi. That's what I want.
Yeah, that I was playing it, and I had those pistol fragments. I put 3 of them on my chest. I had 1 in each hand, and my health was like at 15 or 20 or something like that. And I took off running for the portal, and the portal disappeared right in front of me. And then I turned around, and a dude smacked me with a ball bat and killed me. It was so frustrating.
So did you know what to do with it after you got in there? Because
I paid attention during the tutorial.
See, I think
exactly what to do with it.
See, I bitch about not knowing what to do, and that was part of my thought, is that maybe I just didn't pay attention, because I have a tendency to tune that's, I don't need instructions, until I get there and I need it.
You need them.
Yeah, typical guy.
Yeah,
right?
they did.
So.
They explained all of this in the tutorial.
Okay. Yeah, what a bummer,
anyway,
man.
It's a solid game. It's a very original concept, and it's a lot of fun. I do recommend it. it may, I felt at first like it was a little bit janky with the way that it controlled, and I still do with the third person stuff. I'm a little underwhelmed, but I freely admit that it could just be me and my inexperience too that's causing the issues that I'm having with it. So definitely check it out if this is your sort of thing. Which I guess it's hard to say that this is your sort of thing because there really isn't much of anything like this. But
That's
if you
why
think
you
it
should
looks
buy it,
cool,
right?
it is cool. Yeah, exactly. It's $20. It's not that much money.
Yeah.
So give it a shot. All right, from one very original concept for a VR game to another very original concept for a VR game, let's talk about Gadgeteer. Of course, we all know about Gadgeteer. This game has been out for quite some time now. Justin reviewed it when it was new on PC VR. Absolutely loved it. Played straight through it like nonstop. He didn't rest. He pretty much beat it within a few days, if I remember correctly. And basically, what this is a puzzle game based on building Rube Goldberg style machines. So you have dominoes, effectively, you've got some marbles. You're trying to create these gravity based chain reactions to basically create a path to a button that you're trying to push. It's a really simple concept, not the type of thing that you would ever see really work on a flat platform, but in VR, it's actually pretty cool. I had a certain level of expectations for this game, uh, but this game actually turned out to be a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Ruuts, what were your impressions of the Gadgeteer?
Same thing. I thought the environments were cool, and I really like the aspect of it. Kind of felt like old school setting up mousetrap, and you're doing all those things. I used to love that as a kid, and just setting the different things and domino style, watching the ball roll down and pop it down, hitting to the next level. It's really unique, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, me too. I thought I would like it for a minute. It seemed like one of those things I'd like for a little while and then get tired of it pretty quick. Uh, but I really enjoyed this the whole time that I played it. Granted, like the last game, these are first impressions. I did not play this on PC, and I guess I should say that is the reason why we're talking about it is because this game just released this last week on Oculus Quest, and that's the way that I played it. I played it on Oculus Quest. Never tried it on PC. This was my first experience in this game was on the Quest, and when this game was announced for Quest, I asked Justin. I was like, Justin, is there anything to be gained from playing this game tetherless? And what he told me was, I really don't think so, because the movement in this game is so well done. You really can move through this space in every direction, up, down, left, right, in, out. You can either use stick locomotion to move around, or you can use grab and pull to pull yourself to any perspective. And his basic thing was based on the freedom of movement that you have, that you really don't, the tether really doesn't come into play. This was not my experience. I very much enjoyed the fact that this was tetherless, and I'll tell you why. I went on vacation last week, as many of you well know, and I took my Oculus Quest with me. And of course, we all know that it's cool to have VR in your pocket. We all know why Quest is so awesome. But why this game in particular was awesome on the Quest is the locomotion is so good in it that I didn't even have to stand or sit to play this game freely. I literally woke up at 6:30 in the morning, couldn't go back to sleep in the hotel. My whole family's asleep around me. I don't want to disturb them by fiddling with the television, so I put on my Oculus Quest in the bed with the intention of maybe watching some YouTube or finding some kind of video or media to consume. But after I put the headset on, I said, you know what? this would be a good time to check out Gadgeteer. And so literally I go into this game just to see if I can play it lying down in bed next to someone. And like I just said, the locomotion is so freeing. You can move around so easily with these controllers that I very comfortably laid down in bed and played through this game. And I played it for like an hour and just had a blast with it, flat on my back. And that was just awesome. And that really is the draw here for me to having this on Quest tetherless, is you really can play this in any kind of nook and cranny that you can fit your body in, and it really doesn't matter. It's still going to be a lot of fun. Ruuts, what did you think about the movement system in this game? There's a lot of options here, and really you can do anything that you want, right?
Right. Yeah, actually, that's really good. No, first off, let me ask you this before I get on that. Are you telling me you didn't play Beat Saber when you were laying down in bed? Like, come on.
I played Meat Saber.
Oh, yeah. That's a totally different podcast, right? But yeah, no, yeah, the movement in this was really good. I didn't drag myself as much. I did drag myself for the first like 20-30 minutes. And then I realized if I held down the inside trigger, I had feet on there and I could literally like glide around up and then on the right one, you could turn and go up and down. I didn't even know I could turn at first. I was like, oh my God. And we were even saying, like one of those things, it's just one of those things that you take for granted. And it was like, it opened everything up. I really like the movement in this game. And I could see how that could be for the Quest, a really good feature, be able to play games. Who doesn't hate that when you wake up next to somebody and in your family and everybody's asleep, or maybe you're camping. That would be a good place for it as well, right? Camping at 5 a.m. in the morning when it's bright out and you can't sleep sucks, so.
Yeah. And you and I were just talking yesterday about these games that we call palate cleansers. So like we were talking about, if you could only pick 5 or 10 games and had to go forever with them, that we would probably pick 4 really epic story-based games, but then you'd still want that palate cleanser, a game that you can just put on and veg out and not really have to concentrate too hard. You can just play and relax. And I feel like Gadgeteer is one of those games. As soon as you get into it, it plays this really calm and soothing music, and really it sets the mood for the game. And don't let me fool you here, folks. This game does have progressive difficulty, and as you go on, you really do have to contemplate what you want to do. But the great thing is that it's trial and error. You can try as many times as you want. You can really get creative, and let's just see if this works. And if it doesn't work, you can, undo, just like any kind of a computer application. You can keep undoing and things just disappear that you placed. The puzzle aspect of this was fun. I found it really relaxing. And I do think that this is a game that, even though I haven't played it on PC VR, I think this is a perfect game for Oculus Quest, not only because it's that palate cleanser type of game that has a lot of replayability, not only because you can play it laying in bed or standing in the middle of the floor, but it's also a great a demo game. You're going to be able to put someone in this game. Nobody's going to get sick playing this. People are going to understand the concept immediately as soon as they get into it. And I just think it's a solid title, and I think Quest is probably the best platform to play it on.
Yeah, it's ironic that it actually does. Like you said, Mamefan was like, there is no benefit, but I guess it's case by case. He was thinking more gameplay in general. He wasn't really thinking about whether you were going to be in a hotel bed laying there playing it. But that's the beauty of the Quest. It changes everything, right? It takes the same thing that we all play and love and gives you applications. Like I can't go in there and sit in my bathroom and play Gadgeteer, but you can. you know. So it's just, I think the Quest is cool. So.
Yeah. And for those of you wondering, well, yeah, but don't it look like garbage on the Quest? Not at all. The footage that you're watching right here, this is me playing on my Quest. This is footage that I captured on the Quest. I didn't even like stream it to my computer and capture it. This was literally what the game looked like as I was recording on the same device. So it looked, you know, I haven't seen it inside of a PC VR headset, but I can't imagine that it looks much better than it looked in the Quest. Ruuts, well, let me ask you. You see the footage here. Did it look much better than this to you when you were playing it in the Rift S?
No, it looked beautiful, and that was one of the things that I was going to touch upon too. Is like this is one little tiny nook that of the house. Like every, you know, you get past. I think I don't even know what the levels are. I think I you know, there was like maybe 20 in here. I'm not exactly sure, but you once you get past that, you unlock another part of the house, and you literally go through this house doing all these puzzles. So it's got a lot of cool environments as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. This game has level progression through the house. Like I said, scaling difficulty with the puzzles. You basically the distances that you have to traverse become trickier. You have elevation changes, pitfalls, obstacles to make it around. But as the puzzles get more difficult, you also get different kinds of items to use, different abilities that you unlock as you go, and infinitely replayable. I mean, I think it's got something like 60 levels in it, and even after you finish the levels, there's a free play, like a sandbox mode, so that you can build your own machines and just play around with it forever. So, still, I think it's what? It's like $15 for this.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
worth that much money. Not only for like you said, for yourself playing it, but for the Quest, especially demoing it and just having a chill time.
Yeah.
So
I think he should probably make a demo. I think he'd probably sell a lot more copies because again, this isn't really a genre that really translates to flat. So if you have a new VR gamer or somebody who's looking at this, you know, video, they might not be too impressed with what they're seeing here. This might not look very fun to them, but I assure you, the challenge of completing these puzzles is where the fun lies. And if you try it, you're going to like it. So I think that this game would benefit a lot from a free demo, just like the first, I don't know, maybe five or so.
or even
Uh,
10, because
yeah, 5 or 10
the
tracks.
first
Yeah,
two were literally just push the button almost to kind of give you the idea of what's going
right.
on, you know. So
Yeah, I forgot about that. It is kind of like a tutorial at first.
yeah, but no, yeah, I agree. I think you know, you give them a good taste of what they're playing, and they'd really want to continue. So
Yeah. So yeah, it's all good here, folks. It's a fun game. It's a very unique concept. Again, something that you're only going to see in VR. The beauty of VR allowing developers to make games like this. Um, it's a fair price, and I think that the Quest. I mean, it's available on PC VR as well as Oculus Quest. But I think honestly, I think that the Quest is the way to go here with this one. Not only for the adaptability of the device, but the demo, this is a good demo title. So a big time recommend for me here. Uh, Definitely, if you like puzzle games and you like physics based puzzlers, this is one to check out.
yeah,
All right, so that's going to wrap up our game impressions for the week. And move us into our topic. And our topic is very predictable this week, as it is the last week of every month. We're going to do what we always do here. We're going to take a look back at the month that was. We're going to pick our games of the month, and then we're going to look ahead at some of the games we've got coming next month. And Ruuts, it seems like we say this every month, but last month might have been the best month for VR games yet. It's becoming redundant, but it's true. Am I wrong?
It feels like it will never slow down, even though we're only a few months removed from it being slow. So it's funny, right? You know, because several months ago, it's like you hit that point where we finally caught a breath. We caught back up on our backlog a little bit, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, what's going on? I got more games to play than I know what to do with, and I've got games I've never even tried. You know, my shame pile of games is um is not good.
Yeah, it was what it was. It was a shift. Like the games were out last year too, but they were all PlayStation games. Like PlayStation dominated last year with all the great exclusives that they came out with, Astrobot and Firewall and Borderlands 2 VR. Uh, the games were there, but nothing on the PC front. Pretty much next to nothing. It did feel dead for a while, but this year the polar opposite. PlayStation seems to have died, but PC VR and Oculus Quest are blooming and coming into their own. And that's very much reflected in our games of the month for October. So, for those of you who don't know how this works, we have a list of games that we've nominated in each category. There are 3 categories: PSVR, Oculus Quest, PC VR. We'll read down the list of nominees, and then we will pick one. And if Ruuts and I disagree on what the game of the month is, we might pick 2. But I think, well, for the most part, we're going to agree. There might be a little bit of debate toward the end. We'll get to that in just a moment. But let's start. Let's start with PSVR. We have a list of nominees here, and first we have Concrete Genie. Concrete Genie is a very good game. This is a third-person adventure game for PlayStation 4, but we kind of have to grade Concrete Genie on a curve because it isn't fully playable in VR. It had VR modes, and none of the story-based campaign was playable in VR. So big points docked from Concrete Genie there. Looks like an absolutely beautiful game, but the VR functionality was very much just a novelty with this game. We also had Carly and the Reaper Man, a couch co-op game that originally was released on PC VR, which was just ported to PSVR this past month, and in my opinion, a pretty good fit for PSVR because again, it's couch co-op, one VR player, one flat player working together. Teamwork is a must here, and a very creative, beautiful game. We had Minotaur Arcade. For those of you who love Polybius, this is the second VR game from Jeff Minter, and basically this is a collection of 2 legit flat games from way back when, ported into VR. Again, another game that's been out on Steam for a while, but ported into PSVR this past month. And our last nominee, another PC port, Wands. Most of you know what Wands is. It's one of the original magic and spellcasting games in VR. It's been out since the days of mobile VR. It's been ported into every platform, and now PSVR, the latest among them. All right, Ruuts, those are the contenders for PSVR Game of the Month. In your opinion, what is the Game of the Month for PSVR?
It's hard, right? I think I'd have to go with what you said. If only, which would be Carly and the Reaper Man, only because a couch co-op, and we were discussing this yesterday. You know, it's one of those things that doesn't work as well in PC VR because most people that play PC VR, at least from my experience, the people that I know and myself included, nobody's coming over here to play PC VR with me. You know, usually it's just me. I might bring some people over every once in a while, but it's in my room and it's not necessarily a party game. It's not something, you know, consoles are designed for multiple people to play. You can hook up 4 people, you know, so you already have a controller hooked up. So you're ready. You're ready for the co-op, you know, and it definitely shines as well. And the only reason why I halfway hesitated in this game being the best one is I haven't tried Minotaur Arcade yet, and it might be freaking amazing. And you know, a lot of people have been waiting for wands for a while on PSVR, and maybe they love the fact that it's, you know, they can now pretend they're Hermione or whatever they're doing. I don't know. So I don't know, but I do I think this overall is definitely the best release that came out for the month.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was kind of the consensus when this released for PC that, man, this just seems like a PlayStation game, right? That's kind of what we said back then. And why isn't this out on PSVR? Well, they brought it over, and I think by far and away it was the best game that came out for PSVR. But again, we have to put that caveat in there that we're putting Minotaur Arcade on here basically out of respect for the dev, out of respect for Polybius. I haven't played it either. I'm sure it's great. Maybe it's better. And again, these game of the months that we're selecting, or we're going to revisit them later in the year. Not only the winners, but the honorable mentions. And later in the year, after we've played them a little bit more, they'll be factored in to our Game of the Year episode that takes place at the end of December. So as of right now, Carly and the Reaper Man, the Game of the Month, October. But who knows? Minotaur Arcade may end up being the Game of the Year for PSVR. We just haven't tried it yet.
Yeah, and I blame Borderlands 2 VR because that was on our list to try this week, and it just got pushed to the side. So
yeah, literally, Minotaur Arcade was one of our impressions games this week. We were going to do Holoception, Gadgeteer, and Minotaur Arcade, but then Borderlands 2 VR came out, and Ruuts and I wanted to cover that one thoroughly. So there's only so many hours in the day. We both work full-time jobs. Something had to go and be pushed back. Minotaur Arcade was that something. So yeah, so those of you who are interested in our thoughts on Minotaur Arcade, you're not going to have to wait long. Ruuts and I are both very much looking forward to checking that one out. So stay tuned, and we're definitely going to be covering that one on a very soon to come episode of Virtual Strangers, or maybe even most likely the Monday show.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving on, let's go on to our next category. Our next category being Oculus Quest. Ruuts, who are the nominees for Game of the Month, October, for Oculus Quest?
All right, so this month we've got Thrill of the Fight. Actually, we got a couple of different games that are of this one, and this one's touted right as the exercise one, right? Like, this is more realistic and actually lets you get into the action. I've never played this one. It's on my list. I don't know why. I think it's on sale even right now. Have you tried this one?
I have not, but I can tell you for surprisingly high marks for the Oculus Quest version of this. People are digging this game on Oculus Quest. At least so far, people seem to like it.
Yeah, it's definitely looks really good just from this video. The second one is exactly the same type of game, but exactly different, completely different. Knockout League, another boxing one, very cartoony. Reminds me a lot of Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I don't know if it does you as well. It's got all the ridiculous characters, Octopus Man, and like, I was watching this trailer and there were some people on there I didn't even know. Yeah, I knew about Tri-Tip. He ain't no badass dude. I've taken him out. But there's some people later on, like the Magician and shit, and I was like, whoa, there's a magician in here. I guess I didn't play this game very far. But this is a pretty solid title as well. The only thing I don't like about this type of style is it's more arcadey, and it's more of a respond, they punch, you punch type of thing. But if you liked Mike Tyson's Punch Out, this is really good game.
Yeah, a different game. I mean, they're both based on boxing mechanics, but a completely different type of game. On one hand, you have a realistic simulation style boxing game. On the other hand, you have a cartoony arcade style boxing game. Really, two different games entirely.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a pretty good one. Another one, I'd never even heard of this one before until Reddit. And all I see is people posting day in, day out, different things that they've spray painted, and it seems to be a pretty popular game. And I don't know, I don't get it. I've never tried it, but I mean I'm talking, everybody's raving about this game. Have you seen it? I mean, look at that, dude. Like I guess
Yeah, this has been out on PC VR for a while. This is King Spray Graffiti. This is a fairly popular app. It's an art app, but it's all graffiti based. It's spray paint. It's a graffiti simulation basically. It's a simulation game, and apparently it's a pretty detailed one, a pretty good one.
yeah, so I'll have to check it out. Didn't know that was for PC as well. And the last one we have on the list for Quest is Halloween themed, and it's perfectly timed, and it's Dread Halls. And who doesn't love spooky, and who doesn't love getting jump scared, right? And
Yeah, I tried this game recently on my Rift and expected to like it. Ended up really liking it, even more than I thought. Uh, this is an old game. It's as old as VR itself, but it's quality. And the fact that people are still buying this game in 2019 and it's coming to new platforms in 2019, it's a testament to the quality of this game. And definitely a great addition to the Oculus Quest library.
yeah, yeah. So those are the four of the category. Now I see what you have listed here, and I'm gonna go a 50-50 as well, because just from what I'm seeing, and I've never tried the other one, but this is definitely one. This is what, Wes, you've picked this one for your game of the month. Tell us why.
Yeah, well, I think I just said it. This is one of the all-time great VR horror games. This is the original VR horror game, and it's still scary. I played this game, and you know me, I'm a horror game veteran. It takes something to raise my pulse, and this game did it. It was fun. The graphics have been updated over the years, and as basic as it may look, and as basic as the concept seems, it's very well done, and I really enjoyed it. I wish I had it on my Quest, because again, it's another one of those great demo titles. One of those things that you want to put a newbie into and watch them throw your headset across the room.
Yeah, that's true, because it's got such immersion where like even myself or you, you feel it. You like the dread, and you're very the sound. It's just very good. It really does a good job of creating that tension. The other one that I picked for a game of the month, and I guess it's really just a toss up, would be King Spray Graffiti, and it's just because I watch the Reddit every day. I'm watching, and people are just raving about how good this is for Quest, and that it's just something different. And I think it's the one thing that people that gives them this artistic thing in the Quest. There's a lot of different things like this on PC. We take that for granted. There's not too many really good outlets to create, and this looks really good.
Yeah, very detailed game, very popular, and yeah, I have seen what you have seen. People are really digging this one on Quest.
Yeah, so I would say those are two. Actually, all four of them are really good games, but those two especially would be safe games to pick up for sure.
Yeah, a good time to be a Quest owner, right? You look at the stuff that came out for PSVR, you look at the stuff that came out for Quest, and Quest is getting ready to come into that stage that PSVR got to go into last year, where all these awesome ports are coming in, and at the same time, you get these exclusives. Well, I'm assuming that Quest is going to get some exclusives. It's a little bit different with Quest, because Quest exclusives end up becoming Rift games. but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
Uh, Getting ready to have overload increase to the quest library. It's going to double over the next few months, and yeah, 4 quality titles for the Oculus Quest this month. And again, let me reiterate these nominees. This isn't a complete accounting of what's coming out on these platforms. It's a very small fraction. Honestly, it's just the ones that I picked out that I thought were made the biggest impact on the community. Because obviously, we're not able to play every game that comes out for every platform, but we do watch the communities. We are seeing what people are talking about, what people are playing, and what they like. So we can say from a position of knowledge, uh, which games are having the biggest impact in the communities. And that brings us to the community that we are both most active in, and that being the PC VR community. And when I was talking about this being a banner month for VR, I was talking about it being a banner month for PC VR. So let's talk about um, our nominees. And I know you guys are all laughing right now and saying, why? Why are we even doing this? Why are we pretending like we don't already know what's the game of the month for PCVR in October? Well, it's not so cut and dry, friend. There is competition. I think we would be remiss just to label this month a no contest because it isn't. It isn't. So let's start. First of all, we had Spectro. This was kind of like a Ghostbusters style game. Luigi's Mansion in VR. High marks. This was one that Ruuts and I both were interested in playing. We never really got around to it yet, but a very colorful, looking spooky Halloween game, and it looks like it was a lot of fun. Ruuts, what did you think about Spectro?
Yeah, looks like it was really good actually. As far as what people have said, I really was kind of intrigued with all the hidden passageways, and like I watched Gamertag play it for a little bit, I think it was, and it just was really cool. Has a good, very unique concept, you know. So.
Yeah, definitely unique to VR. Nothing like this in VR yet. Um, the next uh, the next nominee is a game that just came out this past week, and one of the reasons why I'm saying this isn't just a open and shut conversation. Borderlands 2 VR was a great PSVR game, and as great as it was on PSVR, way better on Oculus Rift. Now I can't speak for Vive, I can't speak for Index, but on Oculus Rift S, this game is way better than the PlayStation version. A lot more than I even expected, and I believe that your experience was the same as mine. Is that correct, Ruuts?
Yeah, it's so good that I'm probably gonna forgo more sleep and just play some more before I go to work. You know, it's one of those games that you know, I always wanted to play. I bought it on PC flat on a sale like a year and a half ago because one of my friends had it. We played a little bit, but it was flat and I didn't want to play it. And there was a good reason. I somehow knew inside that I was going to have it on PC VR. And now I do. And now I can play through the whole thing and actually get to play it in VR. And it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is literally amazing. It's a triple A VR game in every sense of the word. It has more content than any other release this month. I'll repeat that. There's more content here than any other release this month. And maybe you like shooters better than you like Melee. Maybe you're tired of playing Melee and want to get into a shooter for a while. There's a million guns on here. There's a gigantic open world to explore. There's tons of loot in every nook and cranny. And this game has attitude more than probably any other franchise that I can think of off the top of my head. An absolutely awesome game and way better on PC than I even thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
All right, so the third nominee is everybody's favorite, the go-to best VR game ever of the week, Asgard's Wrath. Uh, what is there to say about Asgard's Wrath that we haven't said already? This it may not be my favorite VR game, but I can concede that this was probably the most complete VR game that we've ever experienced. This game checks all the boxes in every category. It has no real deficiency. I mean, you can nitpick. There are things as you play through the game that are less than perfect. I'm not saying it's perfect. But what I'm saying is in every category that you judge a game on, it has high marks. It's good at everything it does, and it's absolutely uh, the measuring stick for all games to come, at least in the near future. Roots, or at least that's my opinion.
Yeah, until Stormlands comes out, and then you'll have a new one for shooters, and then it's like they're gonna start. Every genre is gonna get an Asgard's Wrath or a Stormland, and then that genre is gonna say, "Fuck, man!" Every game that came out before it is gonna be screwed, and because I pretty much look at every game like Skyrim or anything. Even Skyrim looks pale in comparison in a lot of ways after this game came out, and I think it really changed a lot of things in VR. Overnight I looked at a lot of games differently in this genre, and like I said, when Stormlands hits, I'll look at a lot of games differently, probably, that are shooters, and we'll go down the list as AAA comes out, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. That this game overnight changed our opinions on what is possible for VR. We didn't know before this game came out. We didn't know that we could have a game like this in VR.
Yeah.
The fact that it isn't coming from an Insomniac or a Rockstar Games, but it's coming from Sanzaru. I mean, that's just incredible. It makes me wonder how long this game was in development, how many people worked on it, because it's an absolute feat what they've pulled off here. And it deserves all the accolades that it's gotten thus far.
Yeah.
All right, so I know what you guys are saying. You're saying, yeah, it absolutely does. Why are we even doing this? It's better than Borderlands 2. What the hell's wrong with you guys? It's an open and shut case. Well, not so fast, friends. Not so fast, friends, because there was something else that happened last week. Something very significant in the world of VR. All right, so Roots, I'm going to ask you a question here. In all of entertainment media, and I'm talking about movies, I'm talking about music, I'm talking about games, and across all the different franchises that we have, we have Marvel, we have Star Wars, we have Harry Potter, all these gigantic entertainment franchises. If you had to pick one to say, this one franchise is the highest grossing franchise in all of entertainment, what would you say that franchise is?
Well, if it wasn't in this episode, I would have totally told you something completely different. But I'm assuming Grand Theft Auto, and you're talking about that, right? And that's huge. And I know a lot of people right now are screaming at the screen. This isn't a game release, but but we'll talk about Alien Isolation like it's a legit VR game, because it's been out for a while. But no, this I agree with you. I think this is one of the biggest things to come to VR ever. And being that I just came out of playing for a couple hours and getting to be Michael, and and I crawling in the window as I don't remember what his name is right now. Main dude, the black dude. What's his name? Do you remember? Oh, you haven't even really played it.
I haven't played this game.
No, but so I'm crawling in, and I'm walking by Michael's kid's room, and I'm in the house. You know what I mean? Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, and to be clear, yes, we understand that this isn't an officially supported VR port, but it is a VR port, and it's a very, very significant one. Like I just mentioned, this is the most popular entertainment franchise in the world. It's made more money than anything. If something can sit here and say, I've made more money than Star Wars, it's legit. It's a big deal. And the fact that this is fully playable in VR now, even if it is just head tracking and gamepad controls, it's still a big deal. You know, I've said it many times here that if we were to ever get Grand Theft Auto VR online, that's the singularity. That's going to be what drives the masses into VR. And whether it comes next year or 5 years from now, I still believe that that's what's going to be the catalyst, the thing that starts the avalanche of people coming into VR. Now, you know, don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that I ever think that VR is going to be bigger than flat media. That's not what I mean. What I'm talking about is the day that VR becomes a mainstream thing, that it's almost equal with flat gaming. I do think we're going to get there, and I think that the event that's going to really accelerate our progress toward that goal is going to be getting Grand Theft Auto officially in VR. And the fact that we have GTA 5, a game that's years old, but still every month is on top of the sales list. Even now, people are still buying this game brand new every month, month after month after month. It's a big deal that you can play it in VR because now people are going to make videos of it. These videos are going to get on YouTube. People are going to see this and say, how can I do that? And it's just something else that's going to help raise the profile of VR as a platform. And it's absolutely huge. And in my opinion, I don't think we have such an easy decision this month, Ruuts, about what the game of the month is.
Yeah. Franklin. That's his name, by the way. Franklin.
Franklin. Yeah.
I knew it would come back to me, but so you've never played this game, right? At all. So you're going to play through it in VR, correct?
That's right. And then to be clear, I'm very, very familiar with it. I've watched a lot of online, a lot of YouTube videos, people playing GTA Online. But I haven't watched a whole lot of the story because I knew that one day I would be playing this game. I did rent it because this game just looks awesome to me. I rented it after I got my PlayStation VR. I had every intention of playing it, but the game got here and I could just never bring myself to flat game. You know, even with a game as awesome as this, it sat here for 2 months. I installed it. I never booted it the first time. I sent it back. So yeah, this is just another example, like No Man's Sky, like Fallout, like Skyrim, like Half-Life. I'm going to experience it for the first time in VR, and I'm absolutely thrilled that I get to do so.
Yeah. And it has it's not a perfect mod. I will tell people a couple things, you know. It's the cutscenes are a little close, you know, and a little weird. So some people just say skip it if you can't deal with it, and you got to have a Rift S. So unfortunately, that's another thing this week that drops that pretty much says Rift S was not a bad investment for good old Rootsy boy and Wes here. So I'm glad I picked it up. Although you know, next week something will release and the Index will play better and Rift S will be screwed. So just the way it is right now in VR.
I don't think that's going to happen. Let's look at our top three nominees this month. Borderlands 2 VR worked on the Rift S at launch, didn't work so well on the Index and the Vive. Asgard's Wrath, an Oculus Rift S exclusive. And then GTA 5 VR mod developed for Oculus Rift S. So, yeah, I'd say the resentment is growing amongst those HTC Vive fanboys out there. They must hate it when shit like this happens.
Yeah, I've even seen some people that have indexes, you know, downplaying it because, you know, like they were gonna try it and make a big deal of it because they can't play it. It's like, it's not that big a deal. It's an old game.
It's not a big deal. It's only GTA 5 in VR.
Yeah, it's just
who the fuck wants to play that?
Yeah, I've already beat the game and I've already spent 2 hours in there playing again. You know, now one thing I think that would be really cool, and you kind of touched on this, and let us know in the in the comments if you think this is possible. But what do you think, Wes, about being able to go online to these role-playing servers? You know, like they say you can't go on to the online because you'll get banned, but you use a bunch of mods on role-playing, so it might be able. I just think what better way to play on a role-playing GTA server than in VR? Like you want to be in character, but now I get to be in character. I think that would be so awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it's absolutely mind-blowing the possibilities there. For what Roots is talking about, there are these online communities, these online servers of Grand Theft Auto where people go in and day out and role play like it's real life. And I know that might sound silly, but these people they're super serious with it. The ones that I got into watching, and I watched it for months, like literally every day for months. Uh, the way that you get accepted into these servers is you start out, you have to be a cop at first,
Hmm.
and they put you through 6 weeks of police training how to be a cop, and it's like legit. You're riding around in your cruiser. You come up on a suspect in a car. You run their license plate. There's somebody operating the radio, running the license plate, just like the real police. The people have identification. You have to search and see if there's any warrants out on them, and it's like a real life police setup. You got to take them to jail, the whole nine. They go to court, the whole deal. Uh, After you get through your period of having to be a cop, then you have a choice. You can either be a civilian, which is just some dude. You take a job at working at Quickie Mart, making money, or you can be a bank teller, whatever. There's lots of jobs you can do to earn money, in-game currency to live. You can buy apartments with it. You can buy vehicles with it, just like real life. You're going to work, doing a job, getting money to do things. Or if you don't want to be a civilian and you don't want to be a cop, you can be a criminal. And this is where the fun comes in, friends, because then you get to screw with the cops. And this is why I got so into watching it on YouTube. These cops take it super serious. And you could tell that some of these people playing are actual real cops in real life. And these guys that are really good at playing this game and can drive really well at high speeds and are good at getting away and know the map like the back of their hand, they screw with these cops, and it looks like just the funnest thing in the world. And to be able to experience that in VR, I think would be incredible. And they tell you not to play this mod online because you'll get banned off Rockstar for using mods. They ban all the mods. But on these servers, they run on mods. Like all the vehicles are modded, the characters are modded, everything's modded in these servers already. So I imagine if you got permission of the administrators, that you could probably take part in some of these role playing servers in VR. And that just, if that happens, folks, that might be the end of our channel. You might not see old Weasel for a few months because it seems super awesome.
Yeah, I was telling Wes how cool would it be like to be rookie cops? We could be cops together and going to the
Dude,
city.
these cops run prostitution stings on these civilians, and they dress up these like skanky whores and go talk to these guys that are obviously lonely people in their real life. So they buy it. They take the bait and they end up in jail just like real life, and they lose all their money, and it's hilarious,
man.
dude. It's just really funny.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good actually. And I don't know. Like I said, this mod worked so well. Aside from the cutscenes and the occasional weirdness, and this guy actually said if he gets enough downloads from GitHub, he's gonna open source it, and then it will get to the point where we probably will have hand presence in there. I mean, it's just a start. But I didn't even care. I care. You know how good I am shooting, Wes, at this game, better than I've ever been, because it's gaze based with the reticle, and I just have to bam, bam, bam. I'm headshotting like people left and right. It was amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to get in this. I'm buying a copy of it. I suggest anyone who wants the official support for this in VR should go buy a copy of Grand Theft Auto right now, uh, just so we can make that statement. Like, hey, you guys, if you want to do this, we're going to buy it. There is money in it here. Ruuts, would you drop $60 on an officially supported VR Grand Theft Auto game?
Hell yeah, dude. I'd do it right now. You know,
I
I
would
mean,
too. I'd kickstart it.
yeah, I just dropped $50 on Borderlands 2 and I already own it. And I'd probably do it again if it came out on another, platform. But this, this is next level. And if I can do online, forget about it. Like you said, I loved online. I've got so much shit online, dude. Of course, I guess that wouldn't be accessible, but I've got so many toys and vehicles and cars that fly. And I mean, just all sorts of weird stuff in that game. So.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this game. It isn't. I mean, the story mode I'm sure is epic, but the beauty of it is it's this large, fairly realistic open world. It's as close as we can get to Westworld, and I don't mean like the Western gimmick of it, but the idea of being in a real world situation with no consequences. That's the whole appeal of this game. And the fact that we get that in VR now, it's like this game was made for VR. This concept was made for VR, and now it's finally starting to happen. And again, I can't express enough what a big deal this is.
Yeah, I did get in a shootout with the cops and stole their cop car and got in a chase, and I ditched them in the tunnels underneath the city, and it was just amazing, dude. Like I that's why I was saying we probably will lose you for a little bit, even if it's not online, So.
Yeah, you probably will. I'm working heavily right now on documenting Resident Evil 7 from start to finish in full HD for my channel. When I finish that, this is where I'm going. I'm going to GTA 5. We may. You want to review this, Ruuts? Maybe it might be a couple months down the line for us to get all the way through the story. But I mean, if I can play through the whole story in VR, why can't we
review it? Yeah, I think it's a good idea, and we'll be talking about all of our experiences. Even, I mean, Trevor, you haven't even met Trevor yet, dude. Like, yeah,
I
man.
know Trevor though. I know Trevor because
Walking
Trevor, yeah, he played on The Walking Dead, so I know all about him.
Yeah, I love that character too.
Anyway, I guess that's enough. We should probably stop ranting about.
Yeah, this
Grand
is
Theft
one
Auto.
game of many. We got one more to talk about for PC, right?
Well, the only reason I threw this next one in here is because I think it's only fair that we recognize the fact that the month isn't over yet. There's still a few more days, and we still got games coming out on Halloween. Possibly could have Aspire 1 come out on Halloween, and who knows, that might end up being the game of the month.
Yeah.
Even after we do this. But this last one is confirmed for a Halloween release. It's a game that I demoed not long ago. Journey for Elysium. It's a surreal adventure puzzler set in the afterlife. So basically, you find yourself in the afterlife trying to traverse the underworld to make it to paradise, make it to Elysium. And I only got to play through the intro to this game, but I'm intrigued. The landscapes were majestic. The atmosphere was surreal, and I want to know what's behind the God's Gate. It never let us see what's behind the God's Gate, so looking forward to checking this one out as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's a walking simulator, but it doesn't appear to be. I don't want to rant again about that, but
I think there's some light puzzle working in this one. It's not like full on walking simulator. There are puzzles here.
Okay, cool.
All right. So the $1 million question, Ruuts, October 2019. In your opinion, what is the game of the month?
My opinion, we had a great game in Borderlands 2. Not the one, but it was amazing. And it's too early to tell for GTA 5 what effect it's going to have, and we discussed earlier how Asgard's Wrath, this is my opinion anyway, Asgard's Wrath is already overnight changed our opinion of what a AAA game is and what is in VR and what to expect in VR, and it's got everything you would want from a game. Is it perfect? No. Is any game perfect? No. But I think this is definitely at this point game of the month.
Yeah, I think I have to concur here. I have to say that as of right now, this Asgard's Wrath is the game of the month. But as I was explaining earlier when we were talking about the Quest games, it might not end up being the game of the year. GTA 5 might be, or Borderlands 2 VR might be. I just need more time in these other games. But as for right now, as for what I've played, as for the impact that it's made on the community as a whole thus far, uh, Asgard's Wrath is the game of pretty much the year. I mean, the game of all time. I mean, it's the new measuring stick for VR. So a lot can happen between now and the end of December. Loads of new great games coming out. Some of them AAA from bigger developers than this. So a lot left to be said here. But I think the books are pretty much closed on October, and I think Asgard's Wrath pretty much, just like everyone else said from the very beginning,
Ran
this
away
is
with
the
it,
one.
right? Yeah, they ran
Yeah.
away with it. It's got everything. So
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap up our show by taking a quick look ahead to November. Again, just a small fraction of the games we got coming in November, the ones that jumped off the page to me. Roots, I'm going to let you do the honors with this first one here. What do we have looking forward to first in
well,
November?
we talked about it. It was rumored, and it is official. Will be coming out on I don't even know what day it comes out this next month. But it's my baby, and PlayStation VR people are now going to get to experience what Ruuts has been raving about for months. My game of the year, maybe, but definitely one of my favorites at this point, and it's Audica.
Yeah, November 5th, PSVR people. You should be happy about this. It's better than it looks. This game is just fun to play. Funner than Beat Saber, in my opinion. Funner than Beat Saber in Roots' opinion, and a lot of people's opinions. It's going to split that Beat Saber community. Some people are going to defect, and who knows? Maybe one of our other games we're getting ready to mention might monkey wrench that whole thing too. But Audica is an outstanding game, and a no-brainer for the PSVR. It actually probably should have released on PSVR first, if we're being honest, and then came to PC later. But it's going to end up on all platforms, and I think that that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, the next game I want to point out is coming just a couple of days later on November 7th, Abode 2, a really cool looking period piece from the early part of the 19th century, or 20th century rather, my bad. An escape the room mystery, crime mysteries style game. Very high production values, hand tracking for supported devices. That just looks like a quality title to me.
Yeah.
Read off the next one to us there, Roots. What do we got next?
The next one is going to possibly rival Audica, and it's Pistol Whip. And this thing looks amazing, and I'm excited to try it.
I am too. I think that this game still, even though the hype has grown for it, I still think people are underestimating how fun this game's going to be. Now, I think when they initially described this as a rhythm shooter, I think they're being a little bit generous with the term rhythm. After watching the gameplay, I don't think that the rhythm is going to have a whole lot to do with it, honestly. It just looks like a fun rail shooter with good music and a cool aesthetic. and I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. It comes from a talented team at Cloudhead, and I think that this is going to be one of the best games of the year.
Yeah, I'm torn. I don't know if I should wear a suit when I play it. I think if I want to be all business, I think I need to be wearing a suit. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to give you the same advice you gave Driven By, and tell you that you should wear a suit. Wear your birthday suit, son.
Yeah, hey, that definitely won't be recording it then for sure.
All right. All right. Next, we have Doctor Who: The Edge of Time. This was a game that was supposed to come out in September. Comes out on November 12th. A game I had zero interest in initially, but based upon the footage, it looks really cool, and I'm looking forward to checking it out, see what it has to offer.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Next. Oh, this is a good one here. This is a game that has been coming to VR since VR was a thing. And I'll believe it when I see it, but it's on here. We've got the date for it. I'm going to read it off. Gollum. Gollum is set to come out in a little less than 2 weeks, folks. It's getting a physical release on November the 8th, the digital version coming out on November the 12th. Ruuts, looking at the landscape of PSVR over the second half of this year, I'm really, really hopeful that Gollum turns out to be what it should be, considering all the time that they've taken out on it. PSVR needs an awesome exclusive right now. And really, I think Gollum's the last hope.
Yeah, it better be a good story. That's all I gotta say. If it's gonna be good, I'll tell you what though, there is good news. The fact that they released a date for a physical release, pretty much means it's coming out. They can push back a lot of things, and they could push back that date, but typically they don't. Not like it's so easy to push back a digital date. All they do is just, it's all you're saying is it's coming out, so there's a lot more.
I believe it's coming out. And I quit reporting on this game for a long time because I just didn't buy it anymore when they said anything. But my attitude changed when Perp Games became associated with it. When we found out that Perp Games was publishing it, and Perp Games said, hey guys, it's coming out, and it's coming out at this time, I respect those guys. I trust their word. And if they say it's coming on November 8th, then that means that game is done and it's ready to come out. So that's why I started talking about it again. That's why it's on my list. And I really am hopeful. These developers, these are guys from Bungie. They're all from Bungie. People who worked on Halo, people who worked on Destiny. These guys have pedigree. And it could be that the reason why it took so long to develop this game is because these guys have high standards. And if that's the case, we could all be in for a treat in just a couple weeks.
Right. We weren't bitching about how long Asgard's Wrath was taken because we didn't know it existed, right? Like this one we knew, so everybody was impatient. And you even thought it was not even going to come out. Like at some point, everybody thought, oh, this game's not even coming. So,
dude, it's been almost 4 years now. I mean, good.
Yeah.
I better late than never, I guess, huh?
That's right.
All right. What's next, Ruuts? What's the next title from?
Next title is Curious Tale of Stolen Pets, and actually, it looks really intriguing, right?
Yeah, this game looks charming, and it's coming from a very, very talented developer in fast travel games. The people who brought us Apex Construct. It looks like it has that ghost giant type of charm, but the world looks way more interactive. There are things like, obviously you're looking for your missing pets here, but you'll come into this world, say that there's a ice covered world that you're exploring. You can look around, grab your hair dryer, blow it off with the blow dryer and melt the ice and find some stuff. The whole world is interactive in this sorts of ways. You have to get creative. You have to think outside the box sometimes to find these things. And it goes back to what we were talking about at the very top of the show about the power of VR giving the developers the ability to think outside the box, to do something different, and give us games that you wouldn't see in flat. And this is just another example of that, in my opinion. Just another completely unique style of gameplay, and I'm looking forward to giving it a try.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Rich, did we forget anything that's coming out?
Yeah, there's
anything else that's coming out in
nothing
November?
else good coming out.
Okay. Well, with that said, folks, it's going to wrap up another Monday show.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
I think we missed some good ones, right?
we missed one. There was one more really good confirmed game for November. Ruuts, what was it called again? Remind me.
I think it was Stormland. I think it's the next Asgard's Wrath. It might even be Asgard's Wrath is trying to be like Stormland. You know, initially when Asgard's Wrath came out and the hype came out, and I was all slicing and enjoying it and had Sharky and I was fist bumping and doing everything. I thought, man, Stormland is fucked, you know. And then I got over the hype of how good Asgard's Wrath is, and I thought, I want to shoot some shit, you know? And it got me thinking, wow, like I've got this AAA shooter coming out and it's co-op and I'm going to get to play with Wes. And I got all hyped up again and I forgot how good this game is and, or, you know, what people are saying. So I think we're in for probably this will be in my guess, my estimation will probably be November's game of the month, but we'll see.
But we'll see. Yeah, a legit AAA developer here, folks. No doubt about it. Insomniac Games, some of the best game developers in the world. And, you know, earlier when we said that Asgard's Wrath checks all the boxes, that was kind of a lie. They don't check every box because they don't check that multiplayer co-op box like this game does. This game is touted as having a large world full of many diverse areas, and here over the last week they've been teasing that there may be weekly content and mission updates to this game. So as big and beautiful as it is, it's going to continuously expand, at least for the early part of its life.
Yeah, that looks good.
All right, so those are the games that we have been announced for November, games that we know are coming. Now, as you all know, you know how it works with VR. Just because a game hasn't been announced, don't mean that it's not coming. Things pop up all the time that are just surprise releases. You have no idea it's coming, and then bam, it's out. So I'm sure November's going to be no different. It happens every month. There are a couple other games that we know are coming that might show up in November. I think it's actually pretty likely that we're going to see Aspire 1 in November. If we don't see it in October, you know, it was rumored a few weeks ago on some storefront that this game was going to be releasing on Halloween, and it was never denied. It was never commented on at all. We haven't heard any corroboration of this, but you know, Halloween just 3 days away, and if it doesn't come on Halloween, I really can't see this dragging on into December. Can you, Ruuts?
No, it's been imminent like for months, you know, so.
Yeah, they said that this game was ready in August.
Yeah.
You know, and we're at the end of October. So I got to think that either the Quest or the PSVR version had some kind of a flaw that needed addressed. They needed more time because they want to launch simultaneously across all platforms. I can't imagine that taking until December. I got to think by Black Friday, Aspire 1's going to want to come out, and it seems to me that they would want to beat Stormland to the market. So very likely we could see Aspire 1 this month. And also, you know, since The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners got announced, The Walking Dead Onslaught's kind of fell off the radar. People aren't talking about this game anymore. But this is an awesome looking arcade style zombie game coming from the premier developer in VR, Survios. And this game is scheduled for fall 2019, Roots. And,
We're running out of fall.
we're running out of fall. I think
Yeah.
you just nailed it. Very likely that we're going to see this in November, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's got to be that. Just even this one and the last one, Spire, it said 2019 on that trailer. So they're both, their time's running out, and if they're gonna try to meet their deadline, I'd say November would be a very safe time for. I forgot about this. I was watching the gameplay of Onslaught, and I was like, damn, this is good. Like, they grab that guy's head and stab it in there, and so I mean, I think we're, this is, it's going to be good. There it is, right there's a money shot. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a different game than Saints and Sinners. They're going to both be great for different reasons. They're different games. This is an action game. That's an adventure game. This is just pure violence, pure fun. Where the other one is a story-based thing that's going to draw you in for days upon weeks upon months. Both great. I'm really looking forward to both of them. We're getting this one first. I'd almost bet my right leg on it.
Yeah.
We're probably going to get it this month. All right, so we said it like at the top of the episode that every month it seems like we're saying the same thing, that this might have been the best month for VR games. And we had Grand Theft Auto 5, we had Asgard's Wrath, we had Borderlands 2 VR. How could it possibly get better than that next month? Well, let's say we have Pistol Whip. Let's say Gollum turns out to be epic. Let's say we get Stormland, Aspire 1, and the Walking Dead Onslaught. Let's say all that comes out in November. It might be a better month than October, Roots, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, if anything, if it's not a better month than October, it will definitely be a good time to get into VR, because now is the time. Got all these games flooding in. I got in early 2018, and I was just on the edge of those short experiences, and things were just starting to come out. And now it's daily. It seems like, these guys are spoiled. I'm almost starting to get resentment against these newbies.
Yeah, well, now's the time to be one. All these games coming out. We've got holiday sales coming up in just a few weeks. We're more than likely going to see $50 at least knocked off of the Oculus headsets. Not to mention the fact that Oculus Link's going to launch this month. So those people who are in Quest and are ready to move up to the next level of VR, maybe those people want a gaming PC for Christmas,
Yeah,
Who knows?
got the Steam sale coming up, and I'm sure there's also I guarantee there'll be a sale then. When the Link comes out, Steam has to, maybe they'll time a sale for that as well.
Yeah, and time's running out for all these other games too. We still have the Steam game that's supposed to come out this year, and I was looking down the Steam upcoming releases before I did this, wrote this show out. And there's so many games that we forgot about that are supposed to be released in 2019 that it's ridiculous. And then there's other games that are great that we don't know when they're coming, like Sniper Elite VR and Undead Citadel. There's so many good games still coming that are not on this list. Man, what a time to be a VR gamer.
Yeah, what a time to write a show for a podcast. So just writes itself. There's so much news, right? So many games coming out. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. All right. So I guess that's going to wrap us up here for Monday Show 11. What are you looking forward to most in November? And what is your game of the month? That was a tough one. I mean, in a way it wasn't, but like we said, the game of the month for October might not end up being the game of the year. So let us know what you think in the comments down below. And if you've liked this video, be sure to click that thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell if you want to stay up with all of our content here on the Virtual Strangers channel. That said, folks, I'd like to thank you for watching, and for Roots, I'm Wes. Thanks again. We will see you tomorrow, friends. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.